The class sets have made a big impact on the meta in Hearthstone, so in this video we'll be looking at the best decks to climb to Legend. And as always, we'll start at the best deck and work our way down. And if you want to play any of these decks, the codes will be in the description. Now let's get started with one of the winners of this patch, or even the last patch you could say, is the Attack Druid. This looks amazing. It's not very different from before the class set because it didn't get any new cards, besides the neutral card, which doesn't really make sense in this deck. And it's still just very strong, especially when you go first, have the Spiderling on 1, you can get 2 8-drops with the Infested Scullery on 5, and yeah, that wins most games if you saw with 2 Rogue before that patch, when that was dominating, getting an early Jade Guardians 1 game. This is pretty similar in that regard. And I think the one thing that changed with the mini set is that instead of use there, I think most were playing before, we're now playing the Life Bloom, because there's so much Pirate Warrior, they push a lot of damage. So if you get that Life Bloom when you're low in health, you play that, get a bit of healing, get some, hopefully, a nice 8-drops with it, and just survive. So I think that's the biggest change for the class set. But other than that, yeah, just try and attack. Get your attacks in, get your late game with Marithra, Bashana, Wicked Fang, always good, especially turn 3, turn 4, and yeah, pretty much the same as before the patch. Then kind of the big winner of the class set has been Warrior with the Pirate package. Now there's also a pure Pirate Warrior deck, but I think it's slightly worse than combining it with Dragons, so that's why I'm highlighting the Dragons, but you could just cut the Dragons and play a standalone build with more Pirates, and play a bit more aggressive package of cards like the Location, the Volcano. But this one takes kind of the best of the Pirate package and the Dragon package that we had before with Warrior. Of course, we're also playing Hogger and Warptooth, because that's still amazing, getting 0 mana 6/6 with charge. Running, of course, Captain Crowley, because yeah, you play those pirates, this is pretty strong, especially if you already have something on board, or you got a hand cannon equipped, and yeah, these cannoneers, they're pretty easy to get, especially Hook and Eve is absolutely amazing. 2 1/1s that deal 2 damage every turn, and then you also discover a pirate on top. Definitely the best card of the pirates, and yeah, the Dragon package just cut down on the weaker dragons, just have some big dragons. And stuff like the Dark Rider, which was amazing. You have the Carry Whelp to enable those dragon synergies, so you always have a dragon target for those dragon cards, like also a Brood Keeper, also needs the dragon. Of course, we have the Slither Drake as well, and a Windpeak Worm, just really the strong big dragons, plus then the good early pirates. So this new deck looks really, really strong right now. And once again, we have a Shaman deck at or near the top, and well, most of the time this expansion we had the Mug Shamans. Lately it's been a Zee Shaman at the top, especially after their last nerf. Well, this deck did get nerfed twice with the Goon and the Maiev, both getting a nerf. It hasn't really slowed down the deck too much, so it's still amazing, just it can win really, really fast. And it also has some surprisingly good late game because of the Elekir and Deathwing combo, especially when you get Elekir with double Battlecry, 4 10 drops. Yeah, that's it's not late game a lot of decks can compete with, especially not when you're already far ahead on board with the early game where you just snowball with tons of buffs, right? You play the cheap cards, Goon buffs all these cards, or Maiev buffs them, then we get double Battlecry on cards like Skywall Sentinel, so you get more of those minions, and then buff those again with the Security Bot. Just a very strong early game, and just curves out nicely into that late game. So just a really nice deck overall if you want to climb. And one of the fastest decks we have today, I think this is the fastest deck besides the Pirate Warrior stuff, is the Unholy Death Knight. It's yeah, it didn't really gain much from the patch other than that's actually good against the Warrior, I think, because there's cards like the Corpse Cannon, which deal really nicely with those 1/1s they make. Just a lot of stuff on the board, so those cannons don't go face, and then you just get ahead on board, and because the deck doesn't have an amazing board clear or anything, then you kind of struggle dealing with the board, and then you can win with a card like Grave Strength or Talanji's Last Stand that yeah, they just can't deal with that board. So yeah, pretty good deck, I think, into the Warrior, but just good overall as well. Just very annoying if you're playing against this to deal with the minions, and then yeah, Grave Strength, just that's what the deck is about. It just really punishes leaving up any minion, and especially with again the Corpse Cannon, Hero Power, Grave Strength. It's already 8 damage just with those 3 cards, and then you still have the minions on board, which have their own attack and a +3 attack on top. So yeah, good deck to climb, and very, very fast. Another fast deck here is the Quest Hunter. Again, the patch didn't change much. You know, the matchups changed a bit. I feel like it might not be that great against the Warrior, but it's still very good into decks that are a bit slower, because once it gets the quest done, it just has so much damage. It's really hard to stay alive against it, even if you have healing with a deck like Priest, because of course you get the guaranteed guaranteed the Gamagan with the Shock, which gives you the Beast, which then gives you 8 attack Beast, and there's only 2 Beasts with Krog and a Gamagan. So you always get a Gamagan and you play it with Briar Spawn, which like 20 plus damage. By turn 6 or, I don't want to say it, but 7. That's around the time this really pops off. And then in case that somehow doesn't work, you can also get the Gamagan here, or Zee Shaman in case you're really not getting close to the damage. Very strong deck and really good to climb with. And as always, there is a Paladin deck on the list of best decks because, yeah, it's always one of the best decks to climb with. And yeah, nothing really changed though. Still the same deck as before the patch. It hasn't been changed really, it hasn't been nerfed or buffed, it's just been as good as before. So yeah, just try and get ahead of it on board. Cards like a Vigilant Sentry and then buff it with something like the Flight Maneuvers or the Nosdarmu, and then in the late game, or more like the mid game, you have a Gelbin like turn 7 or something. Usually, and that is a pretty powerful play. If you haven't won before that, and then usually Gelbin just kind of seals the deal. So still, pure Paladin, great deck to climb with. Then another deck that we've had for a long time, but there's one change because the mini set, or the class set I should say, gave us the Wanted poster. The one card that isn't a class card in the class sets. This neutral card, and looks pretty alright in this deck. It's not anything amazing, but just getting guaranteed high cost minions is exactly what you want after you complete the quest, and it's 2 mana, so it's a bit cheaper than a Raptor Herald and Stonehill Defender, and it gets kind of the same kind of quality of minion, although maybe even better than Stonehill, because usually there's a lot of cheap taunts. So yeah, you get guaranteed 2 big minions with the weapon, and yeah, that's really what you want with this deck, or you can just play it to complete the quest. So it's been a nice addition to Quest Rogue, even though it didn't actually get a class set this time. And another deck that's running the new Wanted poster is Mage Shaman, because with the nerf to Mage, where you can't use Mage's magic anymore the first 2 turns, so you actually want to maybe spend time to get some minions in hand, so you can start using that hero power on turn 3, and one of those cards now is the Wanted poster. Just get a minion that then is 2 mana less basically every turn if you want to play it, and then you can prepare it, so you can prepare it on 3. Turn 4, you have -4 mana, -2 of the hero power, so you can already play a 10-drop, so anything that you get of this you can play on turn 4. And it can be some pretty powerful minions, so you can get ahead on board early, get that big minion the opponent can't deal with, so a nice addition to Mage Shaman. And yeah, besides that, the deck has pretty much stayed the same as before. It's after all, you can only play spells really, so it's kind of limited what you can do, but yeah, it's been a nice addition, just a bit more flexibility, a bit more late game, and potentially just early scam potential with that Wanted poster. Then here we have a Rogue deck, and Rogue of course got a class set, but yeah, there's not really a deck for those stealth minions alone, but you can use them to support the Herald deck as we do here. So we're running the new SI7 Supplier and Matthias Shaw, so it can just be nice to cheat out some of the bigger minions, especially something like Naralex, Twilight Mistress, or even Shadow, making it easier to corrupt. Those can be amazing to discount with Shaw. So ideally, of course, you go like SI7 Supplier on 2, Maniacal Follower on 3, the already stealth minion you had in the deck, and then Matthias Shaw on 4, hit twice, get 6 mana cheat, and then Matthias Shaw will also itself mana cheat once it attacks. So that's quite a bit of mana cheat you get in this deck. It is not an amazing upgrade or anything, but it's just nice to have, and it makes the games feel a little bit different depending on what you get discounted. It allows you to do some more crazy stuff. For example, if you discount Sinestra, you can do some really cool stuff if you get the right random cards. But outside of that addition, the other cards though from the mini set aren't really seeing play in Rogue, and the rest of this deck is pretty similar to before the patch. But still, Rogue, it's always solid, and this looks like the best Rogue deck right now. And another Herald deck we have here is the Herald Warlock. Now I played this myself, I didn't do too well with it, but the stats say it's doing well and other people do well, so I guess it's a me problem. And yeah, there's one new card in this deck, of course. Warlock got the class set with all the informants, but turns out, yeah, they're not that great, to say the least. So I would not suggest playing any of those cards outside of Godfather Kazakus, because, yeah, it doesn't have any informant cards. This is just good by itself, and just a very flexible card. This Kazakus how it works. You get twice a discover option of one of these options here, the potions here, all these here. You get the 2 of those options, you pick them, and then you decide which trial you want. So if you do an ending trial, that means you play this card, it goes off in 4 turns, so it's an aura effect then, so your opponent will know what's going to happen. But for some stuff, like for example, if you take steal 2 cards from your opponent's hand, you know, you might think, I don't want to spend mana on it, but hey, in 4 turns, it's still going to be good, you know, you can play it for 0 mana. But some things like, take control of a random minion, getting that randomly, it's maybe not so good, then you choose Rush Trial, so yeah, when you cast a spell, it happens immediately, so very flexible card, and you really have to think about what you pick, and then which trial you pick, because that really matters, especially depending on which options you pick here. So yeah, QcAAA is a really good card in probably any Warlock deck right now, and a nice addition, but besides that, the mini set didn't change much. Just the one thing is that you probably want to be running Shadow rounds, because of all the Pirate Warriors running around and those 1/1s. You don't have the greatest way to deal with them efficiently, but Shadow rounds can clean up a board of those 1/1s very easily. Though do be warned, this is not a good deck against Pirate Warrior because you don't have a lot of healing. But I just want to say that you really want to be running Shadow rounds to be able to deal with their stuff, to have a little bit of a better shot at winning. And here we have a Burn Mage, and it's pretty much the same as last week. Running the newly buffed Trixie Improviser and the Volcanoes, and pretty good in the deck. And yeah, besides that, it's just Burn Mage, right? You want to get Archmage Calic on the board, play your minions early on with the Whelps, the Violet Spellwing, Raincaller, the Conjured Bookkeeper, especially because you don't have a lot of draw, so this one can be quite important to be able to play with Kindred, so you get 2 of them, play those minions, push some damage, play Calic, and Trixie Improviser to annoy your opponent, and then yeah, just have all the burn to finish off the opponent with cards like Fireball, Arcane Flow, especially with spell damage, Frostbolt, just all the spell damage cards make this deck be able to really push out a ton of damage before the opponent can really do a whole lot. Then we have a Priest deck, and also Priest of course got a class up with a lot of the Reborn stuff, and this is playing a bunch of the new cards. First of all, like this list is running Follow the Ghost, and this whole list, I couldn't really find a great list I feel like I really liked for this deck, but this one put up some solid stats, so I picked this one, and it's playing a bunch of new cards. But yeah, I feel like there's still going to be a better list out there somewhere, but I haven't seen it just yet. But this one, yeah, running Follow the Ghost, so the 2/1 with Reborn, so if you're on the coin, you can play like this, coin something, and then play a playable card like maybe a Powered Shield with it. You get 3 of those 2/1s, so it can be good going second, a little bit less punishing going second with that card. Running the new Haunt cards, that's amazing, of course. With a Soothsayer, that is what this deck is all about, that Soothsayer, get that out early, give it Haunt, or give it Reborn with the also new Spectre Specialist. And if you already can combine those 2, you can get 2 of them with Reborn. And yeah, when you get the copy with Reborn, this card is crazy broken, like 2 Soothsayers with Reborn, that's so many minions in one. Most decks just can't deal with that, so you try and go for that, but most of the time it's not really going to happen because it just takes too much setup, right? Like you have to reduce Soothsayer, play Haunt on it, and then play Spectre Specialist. But if it can happen, it's really nice. Just don't try and force that, because that's usually not how you win. You don't need to go for the perfect combo to win. And we're playing even more new cards here. We've got Slime 'em, so that can be great to clear the board. Or just kill your Soothsayer, keep the 6-drop on the board, and then be able to resummon your Soothsayer. Or just stall the game a bit, so you got some more time to combo that Soothsayer. And we also have Wraith Vangeist, so yeah, you can resummon all those Reborn minions. And well, you also want to have that on Soothsayer. I think most of the time in this deck, you're gonna be happy if you just resummon the quest rewards, just 2 of them. Yeah, getting basically your quest reward replayed, plus a 5/5. That's already pretty good because that quest reward is super strong. So for this deck, it's about the Soothsayer, but I think it's also a lot about the quest reward. Get it out fast. That's why we're playing cheap shadow spells like the Twilight Influence, like the Follow the Ghost, and some cheap holy spells like Manta Powered Shield. So you can actually get that quest reward out as soon as possible, because that wins sometimes, or most of the time, even faster than the Soothsayer, and is way harder to deal with. So don't just go for the Soothsayer. Make sure that you keep that quest reward in mind, because it's very, very strong. And here we have the one Demon Hunter deck. I was looking at the Demon Hunter decks. They didn't look super amazing, but this deck looks solid. We also had like a Void Soul Demon Hunter looked okay, but not amazing. You could kind of play similar to as before, though maybe with like Irida added, and maybe some less tech like Viper that was played when Void Soul Demon Hunter was dominating. But this one looked like a decent list for Demon Hunter the quest. So of course we have the quest. Try and deal damage, 2 damage multiple times, and then after that you win pretty fast, because doubling up on damage is very, very strong. That's why we have stuff like Garishia Wasp, I mean Insect Wall, I mean half the deck deals 2 damage. You know, like Felfire Blaze, suddenly 4 AoE. It also goes phase. Caustic Manifestations is 8 damage, and it shuffles 2 cards, so that's great after Rita. So yeah, not the best deck, but it's a solid deck if you want to climb with. And maybe if you want to play Demon Hunter, this is probably the best deck to go for. And the second rogue deck here is the Aya Rogue, and it's pretty much the same as before the patch when Aya got buffed to add an extra coin, so you get 3 coins. So you want to get this out as soon as possible. So get those coins early, right? Coin, Aya, and then you can summon like a couple of Jade Golems. That's usually what you want to go for, Jade Golems. Sometimes you want to go for Potion if you're really far behind. That can happen, right? If the opponent has a big board and you die, if you just go for Jade Golems, then you want to go for that. But usually, if you're not too far behind, you want to go for those Jade Golems. Get ahead on board because you have so many ways to get coins, and yeah, those Jade Golems will keep scaling and scaling. It's really hard for most decks to keep up when you do that really early. I've seen like Jade Golems like 8/8, 9/9s on like turn 4, turn 5. Like, yeah, that's pretty strong. That's what you gotta go for, and that's pretty much all the deck does. Just get a lot of those big minions. Sometimes, you know, you can like Deja Vu, a good card, or you can like Ashmain half the deck. That can be pretty powerful most of the time. Yeah, just focus on getting those coins out. That's why I'm also playing the Hooktail, right? Just get a handful of coins, handful of Jade Golems, and yeah, it's funny this card sees play now. Not a card you would think maybe would see play, but yeah, when you build the deck around this effect, even playing Garona's Last Stand just to easily pop it, it suddenly becomes a very good card in a deck like Aya Rogue. The second Warlock deck we have here is the Rafaam Warlock. Putting up some solid stats, better than before, better than what you might expect. And it's playing 2 new cards. First of all, we got the Godfather Kazakus, of course, because you pretty much want to play it in every Warlock deck, like I said before. I'm also playing 1 Harsh Sentence in this. Now, I'm not convinced about it. It can be nice to disrupt the opponent, but yeah, you can easily replace this one. Just this looked like the best list, but there might be something better out there. Just we don't know it yet. And also what we're running here is the Possessed Animancer with the Asphyxiodon. Now, it kind of changes depending on the meta, what you want to play for the Possessed Animancer. Because sometimes, you know, there was like the Ultra Gigasaur, which was being run against decks like Void Soul Demon Hunter that just can't kill that and don't have a great early game. But now I think Asphyxiodon is better because of all the Pirate Warriors that you really want to have some healing against and more immediate impact. And the rest of the deck has just kind of remained the same. Just, yeah, try and do your farm stuff. Although most games, you don't really need your Time Thief for farm. You usually win on tempo, but it's nice to have against, say, a very slow priest deck, so you can beat him easily with that. And the final deck I have here is the Azalina Priest. I know a lot of people like this deck, myself included. I love playing this deck, and yeah, it doesn't really change though. The last few weeks it's been pretty much the same. This build, it's just kind of the optimal build, and no reason to really change anything about it. But it's just, yeah, solid like before. It's not amazing at climbing, right? You really need to know every matchup, every deck, like what you want to do with that, how you combine it with your cards. But it's really fun to play, and it's not too bad that I don't want to be recommending it. But yeah, if you want to climb fast, I'd probably play any of the other decks. But if you want to have a lot of fun while climbing, then I can definitely recommend this one, as I'm sure I'll be playing it a ton again on my stream here on YouTube or on Twitch. So make sure to well, look out for that when I'll be streaming, which I'll be doing again later today, and most days throughout the week. And those are the 16 decks I've got for you today. So again, if you want to play any of these decks, codes will be in the description. If this video was helpful, make sure to like and subscribe. And you can also actually become a member now on the channel for just 99 cents. And make sure to let me know in the comments what deck has been working out for you. Thank you for watching, and until next time.